live? Because if so, it's like, don't say anything that you don't want broadcasted on the internet. It's like, I
There's
heard.
always like there's always like a little bit of a thing.
Yeah, it's
What did you hear?
so I heard that. Oh, sorry. Oh, we're on. Nope. Sorry, we're on YouTube. I can't. Nope. Can't reveal any secrets on. That's for after. That's for the after show. If you want to
All
hear
right.
any of the gossip, for all you listeners out there, if you want to hear the gossip, uh, donate to MLVC via Venmo, and we'll let you hear the after show. Um, Jason, I have literally no idea who's going to be joining us on Saturday afternoon, so we'll just get started. Does that sound okay for
Sounds
you?
good. Sounds good to me.
Um, all right. You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica Ciccone. As you know, and I'm just going to keep saying it until the tour's over. I'm your unofficial celebration tour correspondent, Stefan. Today on the show, we have one of MLVC podcast's resident hairstylists, Jason Lee, who attended last night's celebration tour performance in Toronto. Welcome back to the show, Jason.
Thank you. How's it going?
Well, that's my question for you. How are
Sure.
you doing today? Because you've not only done last night's show, you did the night
Uh-huh.
before. So you must
Uh-huh.
have a little bit of celebration malaise.
I'm a little tired, so I may say things or I may not be able to say things in full sentences today. I
That's
had
fine.
to,
We'll walk you through it.
yeah, I had to get up pretty, well, normal time for me, but a little bit earlier to get to work today after the 2 nights. So I'm just kind of dragging along here, but we'll get through this.
Right. As I was gonna say, unlike Madonna, you don't have off today. You had to work.
Yeah, today I did, yeah.
Well, so first tell me
But
what.
do you think she actually has time off after this? Like, don't you think that she's got like, I mean, we could talk about this afterwards, but I'm so fascinated to think about what her day would be like because it's not like she just does the show. Like, I'm sure there's a million things leading up to the show.
Right. I mean, she's an empire. I can't imagine that it's like she just sleeps in the day after a tour. You know what I
Do you
mean?
think she? Do you think she watches The Housewives?
I don't think she watches any television.
Right,
Like maybe it's peripheral, like on in the background or
right,
something,
right.
like when she's getting hair and makeup done. But I'm like, I just from,
Like,
I mean, I assume she's like got so many like hair, makeup, like facials,
have you
body.
have you have you seen her roots? Her
Well, but
roots
no,
are like
you know
this.
what
It's
I mean. Like
wild.
she's like, I
Mm-hmm.
assume like maybe she's got like body work stuff going on, like I mean every day. Like I assume it's every day. She's probably got like
Yeah.
deep tissue. Well, not every day for deep tissue, but like you know what I mean? Like she must have that type of stuff.
I think it's more just like meetings and like stuff that's coming at her and whatever, she would have to be prepping for whatever is coming after this. I'm sure you know, the fall school season for the twins, like like just like
Right.
setting it up for their private school, whatever it is. But also just having to deal with and also like imagine the amount of people that are on this tour. Somebody has something that comes up or whatever happens here or there, she's got to
Yeah.
deal with that.
Well, right. Like I'm endlessly fascinated to know like when she's traveling, because as you know from the Girly Show reunion, the
Mm-hmm.
cast of Girly Show, they had said on the plane to the next city, they were all
Right.
required to watch the last night's show.
Oh,
And
cool.
they had to, like to analyze sort of like what sports players do, like after a game,
Right.
they watch their game. What did they do? How did they perform? Blah, blah, blah. So they know how to like fix it or make it better for next time. And I wonder if she does that stuff like for her personally, like, or if it's just like she's watching it for other people, like I saw a video clip from Toronto's first night, and during holiday, the black overcoat, that silk black overcoat, which I
Mm-hmm.
would love to just wear around
The
Philadelphia.
house.
And Philadelphia, like just walking down Broad
Yeah.
Street. It got caught on the little skirt
Mm,
that she wears,
mm.
and she was trying to open the coat at the one moment and it wouldn't
Yeah, yeah,
open,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
threw her attention for 1 second, and she looked down, and then she started to like, I think she just tried to like pull it off, but then the whole skirt moved, and I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm like, what's gonna
Oh,
happen here? You know, like,
I
uh,
feel as though there was a moment, and I don't know if it was a story or if I actually remember seeing it, but back in Drowned World tour when she had that giant kimono during Frozen, and maybe Marlene told this story once. I can't remember what it was in an interview, but like it got caught in something, and I just remember thinking, "Oh God, that would have been a nightmare."
a
But yeah, like
nightmare. Yeah, like somebody would have had to go up and yank it off of her. You know. Uh,
yeah.
I know. I mean, I
Anyway,
don't like when stuff like that happens because obviously it's not the intention, but
right.
I live for the unexpected moments like that. Um,
Yeah.
no, I
Anyway,
mean, we could hypothesize all day about like because I'm endlessly fascinated to know like what does she do like immediately after the show? Is she just like it because she must be so up and high, you know, like
right.
after if you've ever run a marathon, and trust me, I have only done a 5K, which I do not consider a marathon, but like
Very impressive.
you've still got a little bit of like that,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that runner's high. And I assume after a tour, she must have so much adrenaline. She can't just like shut down and go to sleep.
Well, if she was anything like me yesterday, she would have gone home and eaten and like a pizza sandwich. So maybe she's doing that. I'm just kidding.
Is it bulking
Um,
season, Jason?
no, we're back in shredding season. Anyways,
I
this is
was
an
gonna say
endless conversation.
you're shredding for the tour, right? You
Yeah,
know,
this is an endless conversation between Stefan and I. It's whatever. It's a sidebar. Don't worry. Let's get back to the show.
let's well,
To
okay.
the to
First,
the
well,
Toronto,
first,
to the Toronto show.
you look amazing. Congrats on the
Oh,
haircut. You were,
thank you.
for those of you who don't know, Jason had a perm all of last year, and now he's gone the girly show route, and he's
That's
shaved
right.
his head. He's Buzz Haley, um, and looking very buff. Congrats on your gym membership, and your trainer's paying off. So good for
Good. Thank
you.
you.
What
Thank you.
merchandise is that? That does not look like a. Can you move some of the
Oh,
rosaries
this
for
is,
me?
of course, this is an unofficial eBay purchase. I don't know from
I
where,
love it though. It looks
but
okay. So
thank you.
it's first album photography with
Yeah,
wearing.
like some kind of random,
It's a great.
non-used
It's a
image.
beautiful picture of her like grabbing her hair from the first album with all those jelly bracelets. FYI, I'm narrating this because some people will be listening to this after
Right.
the fact.
Thank you.
Um, and then yes, you've got a plethora of rosaries. And are those Maripol? Are those official
No, no,
Maripol?
no. Those were $50. Like
Okay,
that's
that's what I was
insane.
gonna say. I'm like, how much?
This was like $8 on Amazon. No, I'm a when it comes to tours, I'm a big cosplay Madonna fan. So I love early Madonna. I'm a Virgin Tour era junkie. And so I always try to go as early Madonna, but kind of hot in a way, like that's my
Mhm.
vibe.
Yes, you did. You were like light and dark for these 2 nights in Toronto. So you were light,
All
airy,
white,
all white, very
all white
virginal,
Virgin Tour,
very
Virgin
very
Tour.
opposite your normal behavior. Wink, wink, wink. Uh,
This
uh,
is
this is our
continue.
this is our stupid kiki. Jason and I have way too many messages back and forth to each other constantly all day long about
Mhm.
stupid things that we just
Uh-huh.
come up like you mentioned
Random.
your assistant, and
Oh,
I was like,
right.
oh yeah, like just literally before we were coming on the show, Jason mentions his assistant. Well, I had to ask my assistant for this, and I was like, oh, your assistant Melissa, and without a beat, Jason knew I meant
Instantly. Yeah, Melissa Crow. Crow?
from Truth or
Melissa
Dare.
Crow?
I think so. Yeah. Anyway, so Jason
Yes.
was at Toronto both nights.
Yes.
You were where were your seats?
Okay.
Oh,
So
dear.
I
Well,
no no no.
this
Listen. Oh
isn't
my gosh.
starting out good.
No no no. And sorry, I really need to. I'm very grateful that I was in the Danceteria pit both nights. The was because and I can't remember if it was you, Stefan, who said it. I think it was you. It was just like I don't know why I bought the same pits for every show. Like that was the dumbest move on my part. I
No, I
listen.
did not. I didn't say it was dumb. I just
No,
said,
I said it was dumb. I said it was dumb. You were just like, maybe wait
well,
to see how the
my
show
general
goes.
rule of thumb is because we buy the tickets before the show opens,
Right,
you never
right.
quite know where she's going to be the
No,
most time. Like, is she going to spend a lot of time here or there? So, whenever I buy multiple tickets, I'm always like, let me move around a little bit just in case
No, you're
one
so
seat's
smart.
better than. Well,
There are
thanks.
there are I think that having knowing a few Madonna fans, there are, some of you guys are so smart the way you guys buy tickets. I have full Madonna anxiety when I'm buying, tickets. I don't know why, because I do go to a couple of shows. And I also want to preface this by saying, like, I know I'm very lucky to be able to sit in the pits. It's just something that I work very hard for to be able to do. I think that's where I like to spend my money, because we're so lucky that she's still around doing this. And so I like to be close. It's just me.
Yeah.
In any case, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I liked it because it was called Danceteria. And I was thinking, like,
So,
yeah, that's
but it's funny you say that because
marketing. That's just marketing.
I literally, when those tickets were going on sale, I wanted to get Danceteria Pit
Because it was
instead of
called
Sound
Danceteria.
Factory Pit,
Yeah.
and I was unable to because when I like was trying to get tickets to DC, the only tickets that were available was Sound Factory. And so, but I was initially disappointed because I'm like, oh crap. I like because I never went to Danceteria.
I'd like to.
I had
Oh,
gone to
there you go. Exactly.
Sound Factory. So I was like in my head, I'm thinking, oh, let me get the Danceteria tickets because I've never been to Danceteria. And then I got Sound
I would like
Factory
to,
and I was like, eh.
I would like to talk to the person, and maybe it's Madonna, who came up with the idea of calling that Danceteria. I'm thinking early era. Yet you're going to do Into the Groove and Open Your Heart in Sound Factory. Now that's a disconnect, and I'm sure everybody agrees with me. I'm totally kidding, but
No,
it is like it's
you're so right. These are the
and
things that
like
we think about.
there's certain details when you're this. I call myself having a PhD in Madonna, but like when you have this level, no, because we all know there are the crazies, and we love everyone. But I feel like I'm very well researched,
Adjusted.
as a lot of us
Oh,
are.
researched.
Yes,
Okay.
research. And I really felt like that Ethereum was going to give me that era. And because I'm a Virgin Tour fanatic, that's why I did that. And it was stupid. Yeah. So yesterday and the night before,
So
I was
you
both.
weren't because I know you were trying to switch one of the nights.
Yeah. So they won't let
Ticketmaster
you.
wasn't having it, were they?
It's definitely a no. And listen, I'm pretty convincing, and I'm pretty good at getting my way. I wonder where I learned that from. And yeah, they were not going to budge. So
Did you try
and
in person as well?
yeah, 1,000%. I called. I did everything I could. I went to different customers. I mean, listen, yet again, I'm complaining about something that's really not that big of a deal,
Yeah.
considering how life is these days. However,
Champagne problems, Jason.
yeah. In any case, yes, they won't. Anybody who's listening, if you're trying to move anything around, they won't do it for you. Under VIP. So if you're in a VIP situation, that's what they said. That is not, because I guess it's all written down or whatever.
I
So
see. Yeah. Well, but that's weird though, because
I mean,
so we spoke to Matthews just yesterday and they
mhm.
moved him into
Well,
the pit. So
I'm just
obviously they
saying.
have space, like
Also, there was space night one in Sound Factory. So, and I knew that because I was looking, you know,
you were
for the whole
counting
day.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And
There's
trust me,
20 people.
let's just say I do have a lot of better things to be doing with my time. But this is a Madonna era and a Madonna moment, so I'm happy to be checking on Ticketmaster every 2 seconds.
Well,
In
okay.
any
So
case,
now
yes. Sorry.
tell me what is because people are probably wondering why do you care?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the point? Why did you want to
Oh,
be in Sound Factory over
good
Danceteria?
question.
What does it matter?
Well, I feel as listen, Open Your Heart is like not just my own, but it's like probably my favorite Madonna song, that and Borderline. I feel as though the way that she staged Open Your Heart it touches upon all the symbolism that we saw growing up. I mean, I'm sure myself and many other people listening that, the first time I saw the Open Your Heart video at, the tender age of whatever I was, like, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't
45.
matter. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter how old I was. Um, it touched something. It was like the innocence. It was. I mean, are you reading that book? That you are reading the book, the
Yeah.
Madonna book. It's so good because she really kind of breaks down the Open Your Heart video and the innocence and like sexuality for the first
Jason is
time.
talking about the Mary Gabriel book, A
Thank
Rebel
you.
Life.
Yes, thank you. I have
Now in
no.
paperback, I believe.
I do the.
Oh,
I
audiobook.
listen to it audiobook. So,
Who is
in any,
reading the audiobook for that?
I don't. I'm sure. Listen, again, I'm probably on 4 hours of sleep right now, so I can't give you those references. But it's
It's not
great.
Michelle Williams.
No, I don't. No, that was Britney Spears, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Or
know.
am I?
That's why I'm kidding.
Dude, I
Well,
don't
I
know.
didn't know. I thought maybe Michelle Williams was just starting to read
She's just
all
doing
these
all the pop stars.
all
Yeah, yeah.
pop icons, you know.
Also, for anybody listening, Stephanie and I are both Geminis, and so this conversation can become very chaotic, and it's going to go all over the place. So let's try to
That's such a
bring
good
this down.
let's center. I know we're very like
Yes, yes.
it's like
Let's bring it all
it's
back
we've all
down.
just like done like a line in the bathroom or something.
I'm on 4 hours of sleep. I was in a K hole yesterday. I'm just trying to bring. I'm kidding.
Well,
Let's
and
just bring it down.
because you were making me wait, I had some apple cake, so I'm
Oh,
sugared. I have
good
a
for
little bit of a
you.
sugar high.
I love apple cake.
Unlike
In
you,
any case,
I don't have a trainer to listen to. You know, like no
right.
trainer's gonna like when I walk into the gym, nobody's gonna be like, "You shame on you for eating an apple cake."
Yeah, that just happens in my mind. Okay, so I really want to see Open Your Heart close up. I listen, it's a great I have already have a great view. I just think it's such a special moment. I want her after burning up. Maybe is this a spoiler free situation? Yeah, I want her to douse me with
Yeah.
her
I gotta say, I thought I didn't think I was gonna
backwash.
enjoy that.
Oh,
And when she's like hosed us down with the beer bottle, I was like, okay, that was kind of fun. I like normally like
amazing.
I when I see stuff like that, I in concert, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't be into that. Cut to
Hello.
me and DC, and she was about to do it. And I was like, oh, Madonna's gonna get us wet, and I like crammed myself up front. Yeah.
Is it weird that I'm thinking like there's a bit of DNA in there? Like,
I,
just like
we like somebody walks up with
we
like
can
a
clone
glass.
ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We're like trying to get the water so that way
Okay.
we can
Right.
like make mini Madonnas, you know, like she's with us forever.
Great. Now she's gonna stop doing it. She's gonna be like,
Oh,
that's
right.
the last thing I
Imagine.
need. Yeah.
Oh, I know people would totally sell that.
Sell it. Yeah. Well, I'm just
People
like
would
that's
sell that water. Like, this is Madonna's spit, and they would sell it like in a vial or
no,
something.
they would sell it, and who would be the idiots to buy it? That'd be me. You know what I'm saying?
For you wear it a little
Yeah,
necklace
yeah, yeah, yeah,
around
yeah,
you.
yeah, 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 yeah. Again,
What?
I'm not that Madonna fan. I am not. I'm well
I was gonna say,
researched.
what's in those the rosary
There's
beads that you've got? Are they all
strands of her hair.
those?
No.
So Jason, just to clarify, those
Yes,
rosaries,
yes.
that's not one of the ones that Bob throws out.
Are you crazy? I'm not. I'm in. I've just finished saying I'm in South. Oh no, I'm in
Well, I didn't know.
Kansas City area.
Maybe you were bartering in the
No.
parking lot
Oh,
after the
true,
show,
true,
you
true.
know?
That's very true. No, these are, and everybody asks where I get all my crucifixes from, and they're from Chinatown.
Oh, nice. So they're like it's
Yeah.
so
No,
see, conserve costs on outfits and styling because look, obviously, clearly you've got no hair maintenance. You know, like it's a buzzed hair, so you don't even have to shampoo. So you've saved money
well,
there. It's a uh an Etsy t-shirt. I mean, how much was that? $10, you
right,
know, like
right.
and Chinatown, I
Well,
mean, they're just giving those away, you know.
listen, if one thing that she's taught us, or at least taught me, is that as an artist, I mean, I'm all about the details, and so like I like to pull different things. I love seeing all the Madonna wannabes walking around the arenas. I don't know. Do you have you seen a lot of those? I mean, there were a lot in Toronto. There were a lot of
There actually, I
just really
think
seeing
that
enthusiasts.
Toronto, I think was the most I've seen. In
Yeah.
fact, I've started investigating. I haven't done it yet, but started
Yeah.
investigating getting Desperately Seeking Susan replica jacket made for me.
They have
And
it. They have it on. Not that I've seen it, but no, they have. I'm kidding.
they
I
do. Yeah,
totally
yeah.
researched it.
And
Yeah, they
one of
have
the
it.
girls,
Yeah.
one of the women on Etsy who makes them, she
Yeah.
upcycles old jackets.
Oh, cool.
One
Nice.
of the women who bought from her was at the show
Okay.
on the first Toronto night. I was like, oh, there you go.
Yeah. I love it,
Actually, it looks
and
pretty good. I gotta say.
I feel like it's so cool when everybody's dressing up as her. I think it's great, and I'm here for it. So
What did
I
you
just up my
see?
game.
What did you see last?
There's a lot of blonde ambition, which I think is fun. A lot of cone. I don't even know where you would get these cone things from.
I don't either. I don't. People are thrifty.
Like
I gotta say, like,
yeah, 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 yeah. And I like also a lot of blonde ambition, a lot of '80s, a lot of. But I think let's just be real. I think a lot of the people who haven't left. Like there was no progression since then. They're just doing the same thing since the '80s, which I'm here for as well. Okay, let's get back to the
I don't even know
celebration
where
show.
we are.
I don't know either. I'm
Well,
sorry.
so Toronto was not your first time seeing the show. You had flown to
Right.
opening night in London, and
Yes.
you had seen, what other shows have you seen so far? You've seen, I think, every
Uh,
Brooklyn show, or
no, I went to Brooklyn. So London obviously was amazing because it was opening night and I knew nothing and I kind of blocked everybody. Like I muted everybody on social media
yeah,
so I
you
wouldn't
were
see
telling
anything.
me to you were telling me to shut the fuck up left and right.
And then the crowd was okay. I feel like it was a little bit quiet. And then, and also, like we talked about this, like this was the first time after the whole, incident
Right.
in the summer. I was just like, we should all be, you know, bawling our eyes out. In any case, and then Brooklyn was a wild. It was such a great vibe because people, New York, everybody's just like,
Well,
just loves her.
that was the first North
It was the
American
first
show,
night.
right?
That's right. Yes. And so the energy was amazing and she loved being there. You could tell. And then Toronto, I will say, I'm very proud. I'm based in Toronto, and I'm very proud. We did her good because, and especially night one. Night one, the crowd was amazing. Crowd two was equally as good. I mean, I think it was just different energy. I think she was in a different kind of maybe mindset or whatever. So let's get back to it. It was something that's really interesting that was fun. And I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure I think I messaged you about it. She comes out and right when she does everybody and she says like New York subway, she goes something like, hello, Boston. And then she goes, basically she does what she does, which is like, whoops, Toronto sort of thing. And I love it
I
so much.
wonder, I wonder if like the guys at the sound booth are like in her ear being like, it's Toronto, it's Toronto.
Oh,
You
for
know, like
sure, for
they
sure.
have
Have
to
you
be
ever
like,
seen have you seen what goes on inside somebody's headset, like on a tour? It's like clicks and it's like counting in, it's lines, and
yeah.
then it's like direction basically. And oh, for sure. And but the thing is, what I love when she does that is like right afterwards, she kind of walks towards the back and she just kind of fell over laughing. Like she just bent over laughing. And I love when she kind of breaks that character for a second
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it almost like set the tone of the night because she was very funny. So she does everybody. She goes up to do Burning Up. And I apologize to anybody who doesn't know the set list, but if you don't know the set list, don't listen to this
if
moment.
people don't know by now, yeah.
What if they just happen to come upon this on YouTube? Like, anyways, whatever.
Well, I mean,
Um,
and look, and that's true. So if you're listening, spoilers are abounding here. You know,
yes,
it's
sorry. That's why they're tuning in. So let's get into detail here.
let's give them
Uh,
what they're here for. You know,
okay. So she goes. I don't want to say this wrong, and I'm going to because I'm
you're
exhausted. But
paraphrasing. It's
she's
fine.
yeah. She said something along the lines of, "Sorry for calling you guys Boston. Me calling you Boston is something like you guys calling me Lady Gaga." Oh, she brought that back up again,
Oh, how
and the crowd.
funny.
Oh, it was great, and people were laughing. She was like she did that laugh, that kind of cackle when she kind of kicks her head back, and then she said, she goes, "I'm just kidding. I love Lady Gaga. Honestly, like she was quick to clear that up because
Sure,
you
sure.
knew
Well,
that was
because
about to be the next."
I was going to say that's the unfair thing for her is that people then just take her stuff out of context.
She's so smart. She's
They
done
only
this
post the
forever.
little clip, you know?
Well, of course, and exactly. So she immediately changed it, and then she goes, "I love anybody who's shorter than I am." She loves that, and it's so funny, and it was like really quintessential Madonna in that moment, and it was so live, and it was so of the moment. It was great. So that really was the tone of the evening.
That's the one thing I think the few times that I've seen the show that I've really appreciated the most is
Mm,
that when she's talking and she's being personable and you're hearing what she's saying, I was thinking, I'm like, see, that's what we haven't gotten since Madam X on her socials. See, like on her social
right,
media, she's been so
right,
curated and so like it's performance that she's been
yeah,
putting on, whether it be
yeah,
those Photoshop photos that she
right,
does
right.
or any of those videos that are Ricardo edits for her. So it's fun to just see her being her, like there's
It's
no
it's
artifice, there's no walls,
yeah,
there's no
yeah, yeah,
editing.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. It's
her.
it's it's so interesting. So my assistant, Nina, who is she's I don't know how old she is. She's in her early 20s. Her
God bless
mom,
her.
I know, and she's the best. I love Nina, and so her mom loves Madonna. In fact, her mom said something like, "How are you going to the show? You don't even know what Jimmy Jimmy is." In any case, you know, Jimmy Jimmy is always going to come up somewhere. in any case, so Nina, like, she loves Madonna. We play her all the time in the salon, but she went yesterday and she's a fan now, which is amazing. And she was just like, wow. But I guess what I'm getting at is, and I was thinking about this before doing this, because I can go on about what my favorite moments are of the show. I think my real takeaway from this is people who haven't seen her live before. Also, there are people who might be older who have developed this weird, it's kind of like anything when you get older. If you leave something alone for a while, it just turns into a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
you know, and so I know a lot of people who like, I loved Madonna in the 80s, and then just completely just turn their backs on her and just started saying, oh, she's old in her face and all this stuff. Completely messaging me this, today or even last night, going, forget everything I've said to you over the last 10 years. This woman is a legend. And so there's that I'll put on the table. We can come back to that. But also what Nina was saying that I really loved was she just like, I didn't realize how funny she was. And I didn't realize how like you saw her. And
Yeah.
that's what's so great about the show. For those of us who saw Madam X, you knew that she was kind of touching in on a little bit of that because she would be more personal. She'd have more conversations. And we got a chance to see that side of her. But for a big, arena tour,
Right.
this was people who hadn't seen it for a long time because they want the greatest hits to be able to see that. And I think a lot of people were saying how great she was. My niece who's 14 years old went with my sister-in-law, and she's just like she's a big Swiftie. And I messaged her and I was like, you do realize this woman paved the way for all of you. And she's just like, she's so talented. So it's nice to see, fresh eyes,
Yeah.
whether it's been a while or if it's actually fresh, to see how great this woman is. And they're really just like taken aback by what she's gone through. We have to
Yes.
remember, as in listening to that book, that you forget what she's, I mean, maybe you don't forget, but like you do forget all the details of how much shit she's had to put up with over the years.
Yeah.
And still coming out being grateful and laughing at the end is pretty impressive in my book,
Hmm. Well,
in my
I mean,
opinion.
I think at this point in her career, she's been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
She has to like it's a survival method, like
Yeah.
she
Right.
would not if she allowed the system, the entertainment
Mm.
industry, whatever,
Right.
it would have broken her if she let it get to her. Like I think there's the examples of you see people who are able to rise above it, someone like Madonna,
Mm.
where I
Mm.
mean, she's still affected by things, but she's been able to get through it because she's just like, you know what? I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then there's the opposite, like there's people who are, I mean, look at poor Britney Spears. Like she's done,
Right.
like
Right.
she doesn't want to have anything to do with the music industry anymore.
Right. And that's exactly what Nina took away from it, was she just like, she took her anger, Madonna took her anger and did something with it, as opposed to somebody who just like wallows in and it comes back at them. So
Yeah.
I just love, because we're so, you and I are so, and so many people who listen to this we're so in it. Like we know so much about the details and so much information that you forget. I haven't had that perspective in a long time. I just know what she means to me. But to hear other people who have gone to see her after such a long time, it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
It's
there's
good.
the thing I love about this tour is that it's a lot of people are going who have never seen her before.
That's right. That's right.
And I
How is that
love
even possible?
which one I'm like, why is it taking you 40 years to see
But
Madonna?
also, like, I thought. I mean, okay, go on. We get what we're saying.
No,
It's
no, no.
crazy.
But I just like
Yeah.
one, yes, that's baffling to me because I'm just like, you've
Yes.
missed so much greatness. But
Right.
I love that they're finally going
Yeah.
and that they're understanding sort of now why me or any Madonna fan makes a big
Yeah.
deal out of it, like
And that totally,
like they
totally.
get it.
And I like I'm kind of touching upon it. I'm not going to break it down or anything, but I do think that there's different levels of like fandom towards it. I think that's also interesting to see. It's fascinating. I feel very fortunate to be able to see her as often as I'm getting to see her, and I'm very happy with the amount that I'm seeing. I don't need to see, well, I would. Let's be real. I would. I'm already thinking about going to Montreal, but I don't know if it's
I
going to
was gonna
happen.
say, what other shows are you seeing?
Right now I just have Madison Square Garden because I need to see her at Madison Square Garden. I think they're very special shows. I'm seeing her at the end of the month, and then we'll see. That's the answer.
Well, so as we've talked about on the,
Right.
not you and I, but like we've mentioned it
Okay.
on the show,
Mm.
I kind of feel like I might need to see her towards the end of the North American run.
That's kind of what I'm
Um,
thinking.
unless, and the only
Hmm.
reason it might not happen, the only
Hmm.
way is
Hmm.
if between now and maybe the next month
Oh,
or
right,
so, she
right,
announces like a South American run, then I
right,
might be like, you know what? I will skip the rest of North America and
right.
go and see if I, see her in Brazil or something. Um,
Yeah,
although I
yeah.
can only imagine how much of a challenge it would be to get those tickets. Like that's going to be
Oh,
impossible.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it would actually behoove me to just go see the show. Like I'm thinking of getting a ticket in Austin so I can meet Liberty in
yeah, yeah,
person and
yeah.
we can like hang
Hmm.
out. That would be far easier than going and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
battling the Brazilians, and trying to
Right.
get,
Would it be so bad?
I was gonna say that
Have you
actually
seen them?
doesn't sound like a bad Saturday night to me. Well, we'll
This
see.
is
We'll see.
so off the rails here, but
But
yes.
no, but going back to the people who have not seen her and are seeing her, I
Hmm.
mean, I've known also people who, like one of my old bosses, her and her
Hmm.
husband, they went in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Her husband was so
yeah,
excited.
yeah,
They're coming to Philly. So I'm finally getting to meet my old boss for the first time in person because we were only virtual.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're gonna meet in Philadelphia. So it's
See,
but I love that
I know.
they loved it that much.
That's
And
that's right. Sorry, and again, I keep bringing up Nina because I'm just so happy that she's like into this. She wants to go back to another one.
yeah.
So that's kind of wild that, I don't know. It's just interesting because a live performance isn't, maybe let's just think about other bands. I'm sure, people follow the Grateful Dead everywhere, or like,
Yeah.
Fish, like all that
Fish.
kind of
Right,
stuff.
right, right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe, but I'm just saying, like, I just think it's so powerful that at 65 years old, this woman can still do that. It's because it's literally when she walks into a room, it's like the energy changes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's exhausting watching her show too. Like how she feels. It's like we had to work out. I mean,
But
that's what
see,
my partner was saying.
that's the difference is
Yeah.
we are expending the energy.
Oh, good.
She is
Yeah.
receiving the energy.
True.
So
Right.
that's why I'm saying, like, after the
Yeah.
tour finishes that
Right.
night,
Right.
she
Right.
is on a cloud. Like
Yeah. 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 Sure.
it must take her. And again, sorry to beat a dead horse, listeners, but as we all know, I danced on stage with Madonna, and that was one of the things that I was like,
Did you? Okay.
yeah, what? When did you
I'm
dance on
so
stage with
shocked.
her? I've never heard that story, Stefan. Yeah, yeah. But the thing that shut up, the
Sorry.
thing that I always remember is the energy was coming
Yeah.
at me because it was coming. Obviously, everyone was sending it to Madonna. They were not sending it to me,
Yeah.
but like I was thankfully right next to her, so I was able to receive it, and it
I
was
think.
like a
Yeah.
wind. It was like a
I feel as
wind
though
of
back in those,
energy.
that was Rebel Heart. Yeah.
2015, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I feel as though people were very excited for the people. So you were getting what you're talking
I
about.
mean,
Like,
yeah,
I know what you're getting at. I'm just saying, like, I mean, yeah, I've never been in that situation, so I think that's super cool.
but like
Um,
because of that,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
unable. I thought, oh, I'll be able to
right,
go to. I thought I'll be able to go to sleep, and because I had to wake up early the
right,
next day, I couldn't go to
right,
bed till like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like it took me
yeah,
like 5, 6 hours to
right.
finally come down. And then I was exhausted. But even
I
still,
feel as though that,
I was
yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
wired. Even the next day, I was like, I can't
That
believe it.
that has a lot to do with the fact that Madonna brought you up on stage.
Of
I think,
course.
I think even if the room was completely empty, you'd probably be, having a hard time
Yes.
falling asleep after. But yeah, and when I during Madam X, I did get one of the Polaroids, and
Did
I know.
you? Why don't I
Did I never tell
remember?
you
I
this?
don't know if you did.
Maybe. There's a lot of secrets though.
Oh,
There's a lot of secrets.
wow. Why have you never shown
I,
me that? You've never shown me the
because
Polaroid?
it's like peeling back an onion. You know what I mean? There are many, many layers here. I'll
You know
show it to
she
you.
said that, right?
Of course. Where do you think I
Okay.
get half of my vocabulary from?
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, I posted
I
that speech. I was gonna say, I'm like, that's exactly what she said in the speech. It's like an onion. You pull back the layers, and then you get the flavor.
am. You can tell I'm actually exhausted here.
You are
Um,
a bit delirious.
it should.
I actually
It
like it
should.
though.
I know it should be. I
you're
know.
usually a
I know.
more
Reserved,
reserved.
controlled. I'm the controlled Madonna in the
Yes.
primetime
Yes,
interview.
you are. You're
You
very
know.
like sort of like docile, and
So yes,
I like this loony version of you. It's
I
kind of
know.
nice.
This is what happens. It's kind of like what happens after I have a drink. In any case, what were we talking about? Oh, yes, the Polaroid. Sorry.
Polaroid,
And
yeah, yeah.
here's all I know is like
What
okay,
city did you
so
get it in?
Brooklyn.
Oh, you did. Oh,
Brooklyn.
okay.
And I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it. Like the day of, I'm like, I'm gonna go take out as much money as I can from an ATM. My friends had to take out money because I'm
Oh my
Canadian. We're in
God.
Brooklyn. They were lending me like, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go in with a stack of cash. I don't care what this takes. This is gonna happen. And I had all these versions of myself of what I was going to say to her because I knew
Uh-huh.
it was going to happen.
Yep.
I'm like, I need to thank her for everything, just like thank her for getting me through life. And then when I got there, I thought to myself, I'm like, if you're going to speak to this woman, you should speak like a normal human being and just have a conversation. Because if you can speak to her in my life, like maybe this doesn't apply to other people, but if you can speak to her, you'll be able to speak to anybody in life. And I did, and it was just a very normal conversation. And I got my Polaroid,
What
and
did
so
you
to the
say to
same
her?
point of
What
what
did
you're
you
saying,
say to her?
I don't even remember honestly. It was just like a conversation. She made some kind of jokes towards me back and forth, something about Bruce Lee. I said, "Hi, I'm Jason Lee." She's like, "Are you related to Bruce Lee?" Which
Oh,
maybe
Madonna.
post pandemic that might not fly in the same way, but it was kind of funny. Like I thought it was actually funny. And she laughed, and she was just really sweet, and to
Because
see
she
her
normally
face to
wasn't
face,
to the Polaroid people.
she was,
There was a bunch of Polaroid people I saw because I went to like 6 or 7 shows, and she was not nice
yeah.
to them.
And that's what I didn't want, right? So like, we are not even talking about the Toronto show anymore. We're just like, going on
Where have
what's
we
about.
gone?
But I knew if I
If you're
went,
just tuning into MLVC Live, Jason Lee is our guest today. He actually went to both Toronto shows. We barely touched on Toronto at all, but no.
and
Uh,
he's exhausted, and he's just saying whatever
yeah,
that comes out of his mind.
he's existing on about 4 hours of sleep, but he's a trooper.
I didn't, it's like when you go up to a lion and you just don't want to like show fear. So I just wanted to go in and like just be cool, and I feel like it worked. But I still want to have a moment to be
No,
able to
but you're
have in my
so
life.
right. In fact,
I know.
that's exactly what I wanted to do to her when I was on stage. And she was like, she asked me, she's like, were you nervous doing that? And in my head, I was like, just fuck with her. Don't give her,
Totally.
don't give her the answer of like, yes, I was so nervous. Cause I was like,
No,
don't give her that.
don't
And
do
I
it.
was like, and
That's
so
right.
I was just like, no. And I could see her eyes shift
Yes.
just slightly where
Yes.
she was like,
She has to think.
she was not expecting me to say no and
Yes,
be
I
so
know.
confident. Like I sold that. I was like,
Yes.
no. And
Listen.
she was puzzled by it. And I could see her
Yes.
having to, and her,
Yes.
God bless her,
Yes.
her
Yes.
mind spins and turns
Yes.
over
That's
so
what I'm
quick.
talking about.
It is so quick how
Exactly.
fast she
I made
works.
I totally made her work because I didn't gush to her. And she was having to come up
Exactly.
with like jokes at the moment, and I could watch her, and she was paying attention as opposed to just being like, I love you," which I do. But
Right.
and I also think again, bringing this back up, Gemini Leo situation, right? Like
Right.
all of my very close friends are Leos, and I know how to manage a Leo, if you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So,
Yeah.
and her
That's
dad's a Leo.
good
Oh, sorry,
advice.
Gemini.
Good advice on that. To like no, because it's true. Like if you give her the adoration, it's like Letterman.
I
Like
mean,
anytime that she was on David Letterman,
right,
Letterman would not kiss
right,
her ass, and she actually had to
right,
work
right.
at that
Yes.
interview. Like when he was finally nice to her, she didn't know what to do with it.
I think we should write a book. Follow up to Rebel, is it Rebel Life, Rebel Hearts, Rebel Life? And like
No,
how to,
chatting about it's far more fun.
okay, but how to talk to Madonna.
How right, right.
That's
Yeah, how to talk.
my
We'll
strategy.
do like a little
Right.
pamphlet or something. Just
Just
pass it out
10 tips.
yeah, yeah.
A
Wait, so
TikTok. We'll just do a TikTok.
would you go see another show after MSG or
Yeah. Yeah.
you
I'd like to. I mean, it just depends. Like I have to, let's be real
well,
here.
it's
Like I gotta get back
expensive.
to
I mean, it's not
it's
cheap.
expensive and I gotta get back to my life. So, this
Yeah.
has been a bit of a like a
I mean,
I need to get back to
you
things.
know, it is that, take the trip, eat the cake, buy the Madonna
Right.
ticket.
Here's what I will say is yesterday I tried my best not to take any photos. Like I really tried hard to just
Enjoy.
Here's this living legend, 4 feet away. You always forget how tiny she is. And I
Right,
was
right,
just
right.
really trying to, you know, who knows, as we've
Hmm.
had this conversation. See, I'm bringing it back down.
There you
Who
go.
knows where this is going to go, what's going to happen. And I just think, at least at some point, try to enjoy the fact that she's there in front of you, which I guess people are doing. But I was like this the whole time, the first few times.
Yeah, I tried at the DC show because when you're in the pit, she's in front of you so much, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I wanted to record some really beautiful footage just to
yeah,
have it,
right.
just so I
And
could
and you
have
have
it.
totally a
And
1000%.
but at the same time, I also wanted to make sure that I was like, just watch her, like just stare and appreciate that she's in front of you. And yeah, so I hear you. Will you, so you'll
Yeah.
be in Danceteria for MSG?
No, so I didn't buy tickets. MSG was just like an add-on, and so I actually bought tickets right in front of where she does Burning Up, like the front row
Oh,
in front of
fun.
Burning
Oh,
Up.
great.
Yeah, and it's not where she throws the water, but
She
I
no,
think
she
it'll be
spits there.
interesting.
That's where she spits.
Her, oh, please,
So
it would be
she
great.
spits to the front, and then she hoses down in the pit. So
Oh, I'll bring a Ziploc bag, try to catch it.
So
Yeah,
having
so that's
seen, you took a little bit of time between Brooklyn and Toronto. What did you love the switch
oh,
from
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Rain to Frozen?
yeah. Yeah, I did. I actually think it makes a lot more sense. I feel like we all thought it was going to happen just because of the visuals.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that obviously I love Rain, and I love that she used the backdrop during Rain. Like I thought that was also really interesting. And let me tell a story about Rain, and I posted on my Instagram. I think I told you. The best ever was like Rain during Brooklyn. We were Danceteria, and there's a guy in front of you with the wind. Oh, and remind me to tell you a Die Another Day story afterwards. And she comes over, and like the wind and the cape and it's supposed to all go blowing, and the guy's like pointing at her legs, and she's like, you can see she's getting fucking pissed. And she kind of bends down, and nobody, unless you're like right in front of her, because she kind of covered herself with the cape, she kind of looked at me and she's like, fucking pointed at my hair. And she was giving him shit. It was amazing. It was so funny. And then she got back up and she smiled and she sang. It was like the good old days.
You sent me that
Um,
video. Didn't you send me
I
that?
did. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
And it
was
was
gonna say,
just,
I'm like,
yeah,
where
like,
did I see
yeah.
that? I know I saw that.
I know it's like, and it really was just like I happened to be in front of the fan guy, and I just saw her do it. I was
Right,
like, oh, this
because
is the
she
best
took
thing
the
ever.
microphone away
Yes,
from her mouth, so it wasn't
yes.
over the speakers. But because you were right next to her, you
I
were able
saw
to
her do it to his guy.
you
He's
could
in
pick it
front of
up.
me.
And she was like,
Yeah,
"You have to point it at my head."
yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, it was like death. Like she
Yeah,
was like gonna kill
but
him.
then she smiled.
And then she smiled and she carried it on like a professional.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So
sorry,
do
what was
you
the
like
right?
that Frozen is now in the show? I mean,
Yeah, I like
because
it. Do you like it?
the reason I say that is because I think well, I've not seen Frozen live. I've only seen
Okay,
Rain.
okay.
Um, I liked Rain where it
Yeah,
was, even
yeah.
just because she had never done Rain in so long. Like
A
she,
1000%.
girly show, and then we hadn't
Yeah,
heard it again. So,
deep cut.
and I think Frozen, and I mean, as much as I love Frozen, because I
Of
love
course,
Frozen, like
of course.
Frozen, her Frozen renditions on all of her tours have been
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And I feel like when Frozen wasn't on the set list, a lot of people
yeah.
had told me, they're like, well, she did such an iconic version at Madame X. It's okay that it's not on Celebration. And I kind of
Right.
agreed because I thought
Yeah,
it's
sure,
true.
sure.
Like that version of Frozen on Madame X was so like breathtaking with her and Lola.
No,
And I think,
that was probably one of her most incredible performances. I think it was also Damien Jallet too who did the choreo for that.
I think
You know
so.
the
But it's
I
like,
think so.
I mean, of all time, like it's just like
No, no, it's one of my favorite
and
moments.
we used to say that it's like because of like the only reason why it was so amazing was because of life. Like the fact that it was her daughter and her
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, 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 yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
the symbolism of what it meant for the two of them, and it was
But do you
perfect.
do you do you not take that? okay, listen, maybe it's just me seeing this, although I feel as though I've heard other people say this too. Don't you feel that that moment at Rain and Frozen with the cape, it's kind of symbolic of her death? Do you not get that from the show? So
Oh, I
here's
didn't
my
think about
take.
that.
For my take is like bedtime stories, Ray of Light is future Madonna, right?
Yes.
And kind of like the iconic universal. And then it's kind of like this moment where it's very grounding and it's like this dark cape and she kind of gets swallowed up. It's kind of like Mergirl, you know, like it's
Yeah.
kind of got that vibe too. It's very earthy. And then she kind of, I like, bitch on Madonna, just it's legendary. It's just like she'll live on forever as an artist. Listen, I could be reading to this way
No,
too
no, no, no,
much.
no. I love this. This is
Yeah,
perfect because I had not thought about that, like in terms of the
right.
messaging. In fact, the that was probably one part, the last part of the show was probably the
That
one part of the show that
you're like, why?
I was like, what's the message here? Because I sort of
Mm-hmm,
got it all the way up. And then I was like,
mm-hmm.
from Bedtime Story to Ray of Light to Rain to the Michael Jackson tribute to Bitch I'm Madonna. I was like, that's the only weird part that's sort of like it's all over the place and doesn't have this one little line through it.
No,
But
to me,
now
it's
that you
like this
say that,
legacy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that it's like the
This is
the
why this is my obsession with her is because her work is so layered. And if you actually take some distance and look at it, because I know everybody was, and trust me too, when I saw Bitch on Madonna live for the first time, I'm just like, okay, now what's gonna happen? The lights go on. But then when you look at it and you kind of break it down and try to understand, she's in different acts, and I feel as though Frozen makes sense. You know, I
mhm.
feel as though it's very ethereal. I actually really love that she goes Ray of Light into Frozen. I feel like that's such an era for me. You know, in the '90s when like
Yeah.
you would listen to that album and that feeling of that time. Yeah, I don't know. I really that's the thing too. Like I love about this tour is that it's just such the way that the metaphors and everything that she kind of intertwines in, I think is so freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean again, I think my only one tweak I would make if somebody was if Madonna was like, Stefan,
Right, right.
what's one thing you
What
think I
should I
should
do?
change on the tour? You know, like if she just calls me up one day.
I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure
Yeah, of
it'll
course.
happen.
I'm waiting for that phone call.
Yeah, yeah.
The I think the only thing I would swap out would be the Michael Jackson tribute. I just like I feel like that's the week out of everything in the entire show. That's the one thing because I would just prefer it to be her. You know, like
Of course.
instead of Michael Jackson, just make it
Yeah,
Madonna and have it just be like every like do a 10-minute medley with all the
yeah.
Madonnas that pop up for Bitch I Madonna, each of
Sure.
them doing a song that we didn't hear on the show already, and then
I mean,
Madonna in the drunken Mary veil, whatever that
yeah.
is. Then she comes out, and then Bitch I'm Madonna, and then it ends, and
One
then
of
that's
one
fine.
of my one of my friends who's a beauty editor, she saw it yesterday. She was a big Desperately Seeking Susan fan. She kind of
Mm-hmm.
fell off a little bit after that. And she saw it and she was just she liked it so much because she's just like, you know what? I really, at that moment, she realized how many people Madonna has outlived. She
Right?
didn't so, you know, I think sometimes we're too close to all of this stuff, you and I.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I agree. Listen, would I love to be able to be the one to come up with the set list? Yeah. But it's just, you know,
Yeah.
I really love her storytelling. And I was gonna say one other thing if I can, which is are we running out of time?
At this point, I
Is there
forgot we
time
were
on that?
recording. I'm like, oh wait. I'm like, what? Oh, we're live on
everybody,
YouTube, right?
everybody's sleeping at home watching this. They fall asleep.
5 hours
But if you are
later, we're still
listening,
going.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
what's
yeah.
happened?
I will say that one thing that I think is probably the coolest thing ever, she does a lot of Die Another Day with her eyes closed. So if you're up
You
close
pointed
and
this
she's
out.
doing
Yes.
all this shit, you know, that stuff, and she's got people coming in between her arms, her eyes are closed for not all of it. Like you'll see her eyes are open, but like especially when she's facing towards the screen and she's doing all this stuff, her eyes are closed and she kind of put her head down during kind of like a musical break. And I saw her counting like in dance, like there's counts, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I saw her going like counting through the numbers. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if there was a counting, just the fact that she did it with her eyes closed and she's got to deal with all these arms.
Yep.
Just like I this woman's a
So
genius.
you
Sorry.
mentioned that to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What? I don't." I'm like,
Yeah.
not that I was trying to prove you wrong, but
No, no, no. It's
I went back to my footage at DC, and I was like, okay, because I it's 4K footage, so I was like, I can zoom
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and
yeah.
get like
Zoom
super
in. Yeah,
close.
yeah.
And you were correct. She does. It is not the entire
No,
performance,
no, no, for sure. Right, right.
but there are moments where she closes her eyes and she
Yeah.
sort of like puts her head down a little bit, as almost as
Yes,
if like
yes, yes,
she's praying, and
yes.
she's going through those wildly chaotic arm
But it's so
movements.
intricate also.
Yes.
Like it's so
And I
specific.
had to
You
say
can't
to
fuck
myself,
that up.
I'm like, whoever choreographed that for her and with her is brilliant, because
Damien
they
Chalet.
it is so layered in terms of like what that means to her,
Okay,
to
but
us.
let me add to this. Then so I watched it again yesterday because I noticed it on the first night in Toronto. Then on the second night, I'm like, I'm gonna really pay attention to this. And she says in Die Another Day, and again, please, I'm sorry, I do know the words to the song, but I'm not going to pull them out right now.
That's fine. That's
she
fine.
says something. She says something about your senses, like you know that part where she says my senses or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever it is. And it's I'm kind of like, wait a second, are you? She says something about relying on your senses, and I'm like, wait a second, are you doing this with your eyes closed to rely on your senses? Like, is she that fucking smart? No, come on, is that
Uh,
really a thing?
Yeah, it could
I
be.
know.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
that's the
mind
thing.
blowing, isn't
That's the
it?
thing. Like, I think people can go in and just watch the show
Right.
and be like,
Yeah, God.
oh, there's a fun laser show during that number.
Right, 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 right. Do
But
that, do that,
then
do
it's like
that.
there's all these other things involved in it that it's like, okay, you know what? God bless her. Like, because I think, again, I've heard moments where people are like, oh, she's not really moving during Die Another Day.
Right,
And I'm like,
right.
okay. But I'm like, if you had cheap seats in the back and you couldn't tell that
Yes.
her eyes are closed, you know,
Yes.
yeah,
You're not
fine.
gonna get it.
She's not moving, but you're also
Right,
not getting that portion of the
right.
show. So
Which is why I wanted to tell this story because I feel as
no, it's
though
and I mean I was in the pit, and again I was focusing on trying to record that show. So I was like, when I was doing it, I had my phone and I was looking, okay, I would just lock my arms so that the phone wouldn't move, and then that way I could like look at
fair.
the show and then look at every now
I
and
love
again,
that.
look down, just make
I
sure
know
that
what
I'm
you're
like
saying.
not losing her, and then look
Yes,
back up and look
yes,
back down. So
yeah.
I was not catching that her eyes were
But it's
closed.
also, listen, another thing too, sidebar, I have a bit of a background in dance. And so I was like, I'm watching this stuff, right? Like I'm looking at this stuff specifically, and I just happened to come upon it. It's not like the world is like, this is not the biggest detail. But, and I said to my partner, I'm just like, are her fucking eyes closed? And he's just like, yep. So,
Jason,
anyways,
what type of dance?
I mean, I know the entire Virgin tour. I'm just kidding. No, I did take like jazz stuff back in the day. And did I tell the story about dancing for her at Hard Candy?
Yes, yeah, you did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I do have a bit of a bit of a background in dance. I never pursued it. I had a knee injury.
I'm
I
seeing
did audition.
you in a pink leotard and a
No,
boombox.
oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's other stories. We'll save this for another day.
Okay. It's not your time to go, you know.
It's definitely not my time to go.
Um, okay, well, I mean, we could keep going, but I know you've got
I
to
know.
you need to to very Die Another Day appropriate. I need to lay down.
I definitely need to lie down.
Uh, well, I'm thanks for coming on the show, Jason. This has been great.
Okay, good.
I honestly had low expectations because you said how tired you
Thanks.
were. You were like, "Oh, I'm exhausted. I don't know how I'm going to be able to make it through."
Yeah, and here we are.
Here we are doing almost an hour, and good
Oh
on
my
you.
gosh.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
Jason, tell everyone where they can find you on social.
Oh, do you want to find me on social?
Well, in case
I'm just kidding.
you
I'm
know,
kidding.
post
I'm
some
kidding. I'm kidding.
jazz
But like,
dance number reels or
but like, no crazy DMs. Okay. Jason Lee Hair at Jason Lee Hair.
you might get clients. You know, Jason does
I
wonderful
know.
hair
Yeah.
for people. And if you're in the Toronto area and you're having a hair emergency, you know,
Just stop sending me DMs about when is Madonna going to go on because I don't know.
I, I, I get that
I
all
know.
the time.
I
I,
know. I know.
People are like, when is she going on? I'm like, oh no. I think the one question I get asked all the time is, what time should I get to the venue? And I'm like, you are asking the absolute wrong person. I'm like, I'm there before the doors open. Like, I'm in line outside of I'm waiting for the venue to open. That's when you should get there. You want to know when you should get there? Before they open, because I'm like,
So
I need to be there to adjust to the energy of the stadium. Like, I don't, stadium energy like makes me kind of crazy. And there's so much going
yeah,
on where I'm like, I
mhm,
need to sort of like settle in as it's
yeah,
building, building, building. So, like, if I get there
yeah,
when it's kind of empty, then I'm
yeah.
part of the growth of the energy as opposed to like just walking into this wall of
Right
energy.
into
So,
that
like,
wall of it. Yeah,
so
yeah,
for me, the person that I like being there as the energy is building because it's a slow, organic, like ease into it. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't get there any later than 9 o'clock. Like I need to be in, like, I want to say hello to people and chat and take it in. There's so much great people watching at a Madonna
yeah,
show. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah, for
just fun to
sure,
like
for
take
sure.
pictures of the fans or just like say hi to people. And
Yeah.
yeah, so anyway, yeah. Uh
But you know what I'm talking about. They do ask, and I'm like,
oh
that's a
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah. I thought you
responsibility.
were gonna say
It's
they,
a big
they sent you
responsibility to
I
put on
thought you were
me.
gonna say they sent you like D pics or something. I was gonna be like, whoa,
It's a
calm
different show.
down, people. Let's
That's a
not
that's a
let's not
it's a
send
different
Jason. I
podcast.
mean, maybe you're into that. I don't know, but like don't send Jason Lee unwarranted D pics, okay?
Have you ever
Um,
seen the 4 minutes behind the scenes of making of the video?
where are we
It's like
going?
it's
Where
on.
are we going with this?
No, she's like so exhausted filming that video.
Oh,
She's like, and I kind of feel like this right now. I feel like I'm going delirious.
oh,
So
I was
thanks,
gonna say,
Madonna.
I'm like, what? I'm like, well, how does D pics fit into 4 minutes?
let's
Oh
let's
boy,
wrap this
this
up, Stefan.
I was gonna say here you go. Remember everybody, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to this YouTube channel, tick that subscribe button so you never miss a video. We're gonna be going live with more people as entertaining and wonderful as Jason through the rest of the
Impossible.
duration of the celebration tour. And FYI, I might not be doing every night, so I apologize if I'm not doing your city. I work a day job and I sometimes don't have the capacity to do every night.
Oh,
So I apologize. But anyway, uh, that's our show. Jason, thanks for coming on and being a trooper. This was fun. We'll do it again. Um, maybe after you MSG or something. I don't know.
okay. All right.
If you're not
Sounds
too
good.
exhausted. I don't
I'll
know.
do it. I'll do it.
Don't hang up. We're gonna be actually say goodbye to all the folks, Jason. Say goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye, all the folks.
Oh, hang on, hang on.
Oh my God.